Welcome to the Ask an Artist podcast, the Triple A podcast, where we'll be having conversations with artists and other people of value in the music industry. This is our first episode, and to commemorate this, we decided to have a special guest on the show. He goes by the name at Keyztothegame on Instagram, and by that handle, you should already be able to tell that this is about to be a fire episode, one packed with value. Now, this is an individual who has worked with over 100 artists to help them build their brands online, to move from an artist who just makes music to an artist who makes money from their music. Now, I would like us to kick this off by allowing him to introduce himself by his name and what he does, and to give us any more details that he warrants as a good introduction to help you guys understand him better. Let's get right in.
Appreciate you having me, yo. Everybody listening, my name is Kareem on Instagram. Like Mr. said, I go by Keys to the Game. It's actually Keys with a Z because the S was taken, unfortunately, when I tried to create my handle, but all good either way, you get the point. I started a business roughly about a couple years ago. It really just stemmed from just really wanting to help artists, knowing one, being very passionate about it, and then two, being just a true student to the game. And like, I love learning everything about the business. I think the business is very interesting. And the more that I learned about it, the more I wanted to share the information with people that I felt like really needed it the most. So it started off really small. Like it started off with just, the artists that I knew around me. Like I was always giving them tips and pointers and stuff like that. And, whether they took it or not is a whole different conversation for a different day. But, I still gave that information as soon as I was able to get it and internalize it and realize how important it is for the growth of an artist. So, it started there. And then as time went on, I honestly, I wanted to create a blog. It's funny how this started. I wanted to create a
That's
blog,
great.
and I was blogging. I was writing articles. The articles were like 4 things you need to do to get your music career off the ground, like just simple stuff like that. And I went from blogging to taking people's music videos and posting them on a separate Instagram. And this is before it was called Keys to the Game. I would take their videos and I would post their videos up there. And he's a straight indie artist. And I would tag them, and it was called like Heat of the Week. Like everyone had the heat of the week, and I would create a space where people could judge people's music videos and say if they had a potent product or not. And so like it went from that, and then like as I did that, I started to slowly incorporate the tips in between that, and I seen that the tips were actually getting more feedback and more more acknowledgement than the videos, the objective that I had with the videos. So I'm like, okay, like let's kill the videos and let's
Yeah.
just go straight tips. And so like I started to go straight tips, and like people were eating it up. And I was like, wow, like
People
okay,
actually find value in this.
yeah, people
Uh-huh.
are finding value in this. So it's like, all right. So at that point, I wasn't really showing my face or anything like that. I wasn't really the face of the business.
Mm.
Um, I was just the guy that was just posting tips and people were enjoying it, but they didn't know who they were speaking to. They just thought that they were just talking to some company or something online.
Yeah.
Like I never really had the structure of the business. I had nothing really set up. It's just I just knew I wanted to do something and I started doing it.
Mm.
And then after a while, it was like, okay, like I think I want to turn this into a personal brand. I think I really want people to know who I am. I think I
Mm.
really want to, get in the trenches and really talk to these artists so that they can like really have a human, like, human to human interaction. Um, because I just seen the value in that. And I was very nervous about making that transition because I was like, damn, what if people see my face and they're like, no, you know what I'm saying? Like, like
Yeah.
you just have those thoughts and those concerns and those worries because it's like, you're putting yourself out on video right now. I'm making myself vulnerable. Like I'm not naturally a public speaker. I'm not naturally a person who wants to put themselves on video. I am by no
Mm.
means that person where we go out and like I'm out here raising my phone, putting myself on Instagram. Like I'm not that type of person. Honestly, I'm an introvert at heart.
Mm.
So, it was big for me to take that step, but I made the move, and honestly, it's just been up ever since. So, here we are a couple years later. I've had over 100 well over 100 clients.
It's crazy.
I've done numerous speaking events. My most recent speaking event that I had was with Joel Andrew, who is the
Mm,
president of CD Baby. Before him, it was Alex Gershwin, who works. I think he's
that's
like
crazy though.
head of business over at Song Trust. And
Mm,
yeah, I mean, it's been great. I had a very successful one-to-one training program back in March that I
mm.
still now. Um, it's been up, man. I've been able to help a lot of artists, see the light, and so yeah, that's my introduction. I hope it wasn't too long.
It was sufficient. There's actually just one thing that I know you left out that I like personally I kept even researching because it's the first time I heard about it, the term artist development coach and consultant. So I
Yeah.
was hoping you would touch on that because for me that was interesting. I was like,
Oh
what
yeah,
is
yeah,
this?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like that's
Yeah.
literally my bane of my existence, and I forgot all about it. Um, yeah. So yeah, like I in the beginning, I didn't really know what to call myself. I wasn't calling myself a coach. I wasn't really calling myself anything. I was just like your neighborhood friendly guy who just knew stuff about business, who was trying to help people.
Yeah.
But then as I began my own development in the space, and I realized that okay, there actually is a title for it. There actually is something for this.
Mm,
And you always see me say artist development coach slash consultant because they're two different things. Uh,
mm,
a coach is somebody who really, really, really sticks with the individual and really gives them insight and pointers on how they can improve in real time. You know what I'm saying? Now, as a consultant, on the consultant end of things, what
mm,
I do is you may not be looking for like a long-term person that you really want to invest with that's really paying attention to every aspect of your development and growth. Maybe
yeah.
you're somebody who's just slightly skilled than the next person and you just need help with one specific thing. Say, for example, Facebook ads. Maybe that's
Mm,
just not your forte. Maybe you've got your publishing figured out. Maybe you understand how to market yourself on social media, how to find a fan base, how to find people. Maybe
mm,
you already get those things. It's just this one thing that you don't get that you need somebody to help you out with. That's where the consulting part of my business really steps in. It kicks in. I have one-time services that I work with artists on.
mm,
And I also have like coaching services too that maybe they don't know what it is that they really need help with, and they just need someone to help them talk it through and figure it out and guide them in the right direction. So, that's like my hybrid coaching consultant. It's like we don't know if you need coaching or we don't know if you need consulting yet because you don't
yeah.
know. I definitely don't know.
So
So
we are
let's
going to try to figure that out together
yeah,
type of.
exactly. Let's talk about it and see what direction it is that we honestly need to go in. So, like it's been great. Like I said, I've been able to work with so many different artists, and it's challenging sometimes because sometimes, like I said, artists don't even know what they want to do.
Yeah.
So like my best way of describing it is like I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor. You have a pain, you have some kind of ailment, something's bothering you, something's not right. You come and
Mm,
see me. You tell me what your symptoms are, what you're going through, what your chart looks like in the past. You know what I'm saying? And I'm making my determine of how I should diagnose you. And then once I
mm,
diagnose you, it's like, okay, well, this is how we're gonna treat you. And from there, that's when the treatment plan comes into play. Sometimes we can just boom, treat you, give you one thing, you're good to go, your problem's fixed. Sometimes treatment takes a little bit longer, you know?
and with different artists, there's a different remedy, kind of.
Right. Everybody's
Yeah.
different. Everybody comes with their own unique spin. I mean, in the grand scheme of things,
Mm,
everybody is looking for help with the same things. How do I get an audience? How do I get on playlists? How do I do this? How do I do that? You know what I mean? How do I find a manager? Which is I hate that question.
we are actually going to talk about that because I've actually been on you, like since I started following you, I've been following you for about now a year. Okay, close to a year. I
Oh
don't
wow,
want to say
that's
like
crazy.
close to a year because I remember I reached out, like when I found you, I remember I posted one of your posts on my story. I was like, yo, this is Keys the Game. And one of the things that really got me, your name, that's so optimized. Like as soon as I saw that, I was like, damn, I have to follow this guy. So when I went back to your feed, I was like, this is what people need to hear. And at that point, this idea of this podcast hadn't even like it hadn't come to be like that idea hadn't yet come to my mind. But that's now a year earlier. It also goes to show that the power of networking, because I imagine if I hadn't been like I'm say just down to earth enough to reach out and show my appreciation and tell you how you inspire me, this probably would not have happened, or it would have been like
Word.
friction all the way while we try to make this happen, you
Yeah.
know. So just to go to what you said in the introduction, you were like you've worked with number of artists, even in the hundreds, right?
Yeah.
So having dealt with so many artists, I remember our conversation from last weekend. You
Yeah.
said so many profound things. You dropped many gems, man. And while I was going through the notes I took while we're talking, one thing stuck out to me that I feel like our audience might benefit from. You said something along the lines of people that want to succeed are rare, right? And then you followed it up with a statement: people will say they are serious so that you can take them serious because they see that you are serious. Now, I would like you to break that down for the
Yeah,
audience.
yeah. So, all right. So, yeah, like we were talking about before, in our previous conversation, like, like I deal with a lot of artists, and one thing that I see in common is when I work with artists, they give me, a spiel that, they're committed, they're dedicated, this is what they want, they're willing to do whatever it takes to pursue it. And, that's just the thing that I get. And, whatever their motives are their motives, for feeling that way. And I mean, you should feel that way because this is something that you do have to take serious. So, it's a breath of fresh air to hear that you take it serious, because me doing what I do, I take it very freaking serious.
Yeah,
So, it's good to have an understanding that we're on the same page. But then what you end up seeing, which baffles me, is the moment that you have that first session with somebody, or you get into actually talking about what it is that they have to do to
mm,
take themselves to the next level, it's almost like it becomes intimidating to them. It's like they didn't see, or they didn't foresee it being as hard as a process as they originally may have thought for it to be. And you
mm,
know what? And this may be something that I don't think that I mentioned in our conversation about this. But what I think it is I think that they're watching a lot of successful artists, and they're not understanding that them becoming successful was a process. Like they might understand that, they might have like a very vague
idea.
understanding of it, yeah,
Yeah,
an idea of it being a process, but they have no clue how much of a process it really is. So you have these people sitting here, um, I don't know if I want to use the word imitating. I don't know if imitating is the correct word,
mm,
but trying to emulate what these successful artists are doing, as opposed to reverse engineering their processes and
mm,
making it accommodating for the current situation that they're in now, right? Now, if they were to reverse engineer versus emulating the process, they would be able to see that there was a lot of hard work and dedication that went into that process. There was a lot of perseverance. There were a lot of no's. There was a
yeah,
lot of rejection. There was a lot of personal stuff that may have happened on that person's journey. Like, you have artists, you end up finding out as soon as they get signed, they end up losing a parent, i.e., Megan Thee Stallion. You know what I mean? She
that's
got to a
crazy. I
pivotal
didn't know
point in
that.
her career, and she ended up losing her mom. You know what I mean? So like,
That's crazy.
there's stuff that you don't know about that these people go through, and
Mm,
when you're trying to emulate them, you're missing all the important stuff that these people had to go through. So as soon as you end up finding out about how much you actually have to go through when you speak to somebody like me, you know what I mean, you end up finding out what you actually have to do. It
mm,
becomes like really overwhelming for you, and then that's where, that conversation about how bad you really want it, you know what I mean, how
comes
hard
in.
you're willing to take it, all that stuff gets challenged at that moment. And
Mm,
I've dealt with artists who've given me that spiel, and then, the next day, the next week, nothing, they disappeared, they're gone.
it's
And
like you never had the conversation at all.
right, it's like, exactly, it's like we never had the conversation at all. And sometimes it isn't as much as an instant ghosting experience with them. Sometimes, you do get to work with them for a little bit, and
Mm,
then something happens, they hit a landslide, and then that's it. Like, they
they
fall
disappear.
dormant.
Yeah.
Yeah, they fall dormant, and then it's just like, what's going on? And then that's where, like, a part of me, like, really really caring about this, like, when I've been working with you consistently, and then all of a
Mm,
sudden I see the decline. Like, you might not think that I noticed the decline, but I see the decline. And
mm,
then, like, me caring, like, I go, like, what's going on? Like, you don't have to. I don't go asking people to explain everything in detail, because sometimes it is personal stuff.
mm,
But it's like, look, yo, like, I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you're experiencing, but I want you
mm,
to understand that, whatever it is, it may only be temporary.
mm,
And there is a way to work your way out of it. There is a way to work through it. There is a way to persevere through it, and
mm,
and put yourself back on track. And I always tell them, like, I understand needing, maybe you need a little bit of time away. Sure, no problem. Sometimes we all need time away.
yeah.
But don't forget it. Come back to this thing, because you got it. You know what I mean? Come back to this thing. Uh,
Mm.
and sometimes it works, and sometimes
Sometimes it doesn't.
sometimes it doesn't.
That's the harsh reality, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Now, that's crazy. I like the way you put the stories. I didn't know about Megan Thee Stallion. That has got me off guard completely,
Yeah.
because she's like, as soon as she blew up, like I didn't even notice that something was wrong, because she went on and did her thing. She was putting out hits, and she has continued to trend.
I still lost her mom. Still dealing with losing her mom.
That's
Crazy.
crazy, man. It's the passion. It's the passion, right?
Passion.
So, um, I'm not going to ask you the dreaded question. I know you know what's
I
coming.
like it. I know I like addressing it. I just hate it because it. Go ahead.
All right. I'm going to put them into two categories. I know the answer to the first one. The second
Yeah.
one, what I'm really interested in. Number one, do you need a manager? And then, if so, at what stage of your career? Why I ask it like that is because, for example, an independent artist, I don't know if he's still independent, but someone like Russ, right?
Mhm.
He's someone I look up to, someone I've read his book, It's All in Your Head. It's someone I actually study, right? At the stage he is, I don't think he can even afford to manage himself. You know what I mean? Like, he
Right.
has so much on his plate. So from that angle, um, let us know.
So I do get that question quite often. I've even been asked myself if I'd like to manage select artists. My answer is always no.
Mm,
Uh, right away, respectfully though. But, like, my answer is always no.
yeah,
Because it always gets summed down, or summed up with just a series of a few questions. First question being, why do you feel like you need a manager? Right? I got to hear what that response is. Generally, the response is just, it's a lot. In a nutshell, the response is, there's a lot that I have to do.
mm.
Okay, there's a lot that I have to do too. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot that I have to do too. But,
Yeah,
like, I'm still out here, like, not like, I do a lot of stuff by myself still,
yeah,
but, like, I'm well aware. I think the difference is being well aware that this is just a normal part of the process. And I think that that's the thing that a
yes,
lot of
sir.
artists are missing. They're missing that what you have, wearing all these multiple hats, is normal, because you're a business and your music is a product, right?
Mm,
No matter how which way you look at it, your business and your music is a product. You're a small business owner. You're a small business owner, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it. So you're starting from the ground up here. Because you're starting from the ground up, you're not going to have all the available resources as somebody signed to a label. You know what I
yes,
mean?
sir. Yeah.
You're going to be your own manager. You're going to be your own a public relations person. You're going to be your own social media manager. You know what I mean? You're going to
Marketer.
be your own strategic planning person, as far as your rollouts and stuff go. Like, you're
Yeah.
going to be all that. You're going to be your own research and development department, like your
Graphic
own marketer,
designer.
graphic
Yeah.
designer, like, you're going to be all of that. So I think what happens is artists end up feeling overwhelmed, because they do have to do all these things, and it makes them feel like they instantly need assistance. But see,
Mm,
that's the key word right there. You don't really need a manager. You really, really you probably need an assistant. You know what I mean? That's really it. You just need an assistant. You just need somebody to give you a hand. Because the thing is, when you hire a manager, first of all, any well-established manager is going to want anywhere from maybe 10 to 20% of pretty much everything that you do. because they're now helping you. They're now part of your organization and they're giving you a hand, so they're contributing to that. And as
Yeah.
an exchange for contributing that, they want anywhere from 10 to 20%, right?
Mm.
So that's what a well-established manager is going to want. If there's things that you can still do by yourself, maybe you just need more education. Maybe you just need to educate yourself. Maybe you just need to just learn a little bit more about a
Mm.
specific topic or skill or something like that. Maybe you just need to look into tools and resources that are available to you so that you don't feel that overwhelmed. Because think about this scenario. If someone wants 10 to 20% of what you're doing, do you really want to give someone 10 to 20% of what you're doing when
You do
the
it
real
yourself.
solution is you just
Hmm.
need to educate yourself. You just need to learn a little bit more. You just need to learn more about what's out there to help make the hard things that you're going through easier. And then right there, you'll instantly see, oh wow, like I don't really need a manager right now because there are things that I can still do on my own. And that's the defining line. So I guess going into your second question, or second part of the question is, that is the defining line. When do you hit a point where you literally cannot do any more on your own? Like you have to get to the point of where you have not mastered each of those little micro hats that you wear, but you know enough and you're able to do enough to get you far enough to where the inquiries and the people wanting to work with you or network with you, when that stuff's coming in rapidly, you know what I mean? Right
Yeah.
in the beginning, it's like this. And then maybe
That's
there's a gap
facts.
in between,
A
and then
big
something
gap.
comes along your way. You might miss something, it might fly by you. You know what I mean? But as you start to learn and educate yourself more, stuff starts to come like this. And when it starts to come like this, that's when you can rightfully say, I'm only one person. Like I'm literally only one person. I
Mm.
can't do all of this. Like,
All
you're
this.
sleeping. Sometimes you're sleeping and
It's all happening.
like stuff's still happening. So like you can then rightfully say that you may need somebody. Even then, it still might just be an assistant. It might not necessarily be a manager. It might be an assistant. The secret sauce that a lot of people don't
An
understand
assistant.
is the right manager. The right manager is going to come hunting for you. The right people are going to come hunting for you because they're out here watching. They want that 10 to 20%. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Yeah.
they're out here, they're trying to find that next best act to latch themselves to. So you got to understand that when you start putting in the work and those inquiries start coming in quick, you
Mm.
know, but also the side effect of that is the managers are on the other side of that and they're watching and they're paying attention and they're trying to see what's going on in your operation, because then at that point they may be looking to infiltrate. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
first part is you probably just feel overwhelmed. You probably just need to educate yourself. You probably just need to find out what resources are out there. And then once you do that, once you get into the full swing of that and stuff starts to come in abundance,
Mm.
then at that point, maybe it's worth considering getting some extra help. But even then, question the extra help. Is the
Yeah.
extra help an assistant, or is it
Or
actually the
a
help of a manager?
manager. Oh, that distinction has opened the door in my mind.
Yeah,
It's kind of taken me back to last weekend, how you were dropping them gems. I was just like,
yeah.
what's going on? Yeah. Um, now moving on to even just talking about like the managing aspect, what hurdles would you say someone should expect to face as like a manager of themselves? I know you've spoken about the fact that you're going to learn some new skills. You're going to have to learn some new skills. You're going to have to network with certain people, because the truth is the money is where the people are at. People usually know where people are going to put you in places where you'll be able to profit off of your talent. But what hurdles should someone expect? Someone is just coming into the game. He's got talent. He's now listening to Keys to the Game at the moment. He's taking notes. So what would you tell them?
Honestly, I would tell people, like, first of all, education is key in this business. And this is like actually one of the highlight points in my discussion that I had with Joel Andrews.
Mm.
Uh, we discussed how important educating yourself in this space really is, because when you don't educate yourself, one, you're subject to feeling overwhelmed, number one, and feeling like you need a manager. And then that could end up in a bad situation because now you're granting someone 10 to 20% of your earnings when you could be earning all that yourself. You just needed to take the time to learn certain skills and stuff like that. But education is massive because there's a lot of people out here out to get independent artists, and it sucks. And it's very unfortunate. There's an entire dark side to this that nobody talks about. And the
Let's talk
dark
about
side,
that.
yeah,
Let's talk about it.
the dark side is artists who are looking to really do this. Remember, they're eager. They're like, I want to do this. I want to make money off of this. I want to provide for my family. Like, people have very strong reasons for why they make music. I actually have a post from a while back. I think I like posted like, what's your reason for making music? Check that out when you get a chance. Like, go all the way back. Like, people are putting all their reasons for why they want to make music, and everything is just like magical. Like it's very moving. And unfortunately, there's people out there that know this, and they're willing to take advantage of people being spring chickens in this business. So that's where you get like those DMs of people saying they can put you on playlist, and they're like, they can help you grow your following instantly. They
I
can
get a
help
lot of that shit though.
views, and they can help you boost your views and your streams, or sometimes even worse. And we've seen it notoriously throughout this pandemic, because um a lot of artists that did have some skin in the game, and probably still do have skin in the game, the pandemic kind of shortened their money. So they went into finding other ways to be able to make money in the business. And some people took to reaching out to independent artists and saying like, hey, like, I'll put you on a mixtape that I'm basically going to put my name on. But if you want a spot on it, it's going to cost you anywhere from $200 to $500. Like, just stuff like that started popping up at the height of the pandemic. Especially around the time of the stimulus checks were getting released over here.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so like you have these artists out here that are like, well, I just got a stimulus check.
I can just put some cash in here. It's all right.
Coming to me with an opportunity that sounds like it's gonna help me, really take off. Even though I really don't understand any of this, I understand that that's what I want, and that's what they're telling me, that what they're offering or what they're promising is definitely what I'm looking for. So like, it's just, it's a lot of ignorance in this business for a lot of the artists that are just starting off, and there's a lot of people out there that understand that there's a lot of artists out there that don't know, and they're willing to take advantage of them. So that's really the dark side. And then it gets even darker than that, because if you're not educating yourself, which is, this is again still my biggest message to people, if you're not educating yourself, then well, what happens if you do have a hit, you do have a song that looks like it's gaining some traction, and you do have something that looks like it's gaining traction, you still really have no idea what you're doing, but something's obviously working for you, and then a major steps to you, and they offer you some type of deal or something like that. Well, if you're not educated in something as simple as the terms that are in a contract, like words like in perpetuity, like, if you don't understand what in perpetuity means, then that alone can screw you over. And for those who don't understand what that means, in perpetuity literally means forever. So if someone's using that word in a clause that is addressing your publishing, well, now this person is basically, in this contract, they're saying that whatever numbers are in there, they're getting that in perpetuity, which means
forever.
no matter what you do, even after that contract is long done and expired, that part still is active because you signed your name on that, and
what the hell, man?
Just knowing these things, just educating yourself and knowing these things, it will just save you from a whole lot of a headache later on down the line, and that's that thing, like you mentioned, Russ is big on leverage, like, build that leverage.
Exactly.
Labels, if you come in there with no leverage, they're the strong man in the room. They're in a position to strong arm whatever they want, because they're aware that they're at this point, they know you're naive. They understand that you don't know what's going on. There's a lot of artists out there. There's a series, and I'm sorry, this is such a long-winded answer.
Go ahead, bro.
a series out there. It's a YouTube series. Check it out when you get the chance. It's
Definitely.
called Rules to This Shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I can curse or not. Beat me out if I can't. But
Don't worry, bro.
called, it's called that. And it was a series on hosted on BET where like people in the industry would really come and they would talk about like stuff that was going on. And they would talk about how like artists would say like, yeah, we would get people who would come in here, they wouldn't even know how to read, you know, but still sign the contract.
That's crazy. And come with no one to help them even read a contract because they can't hire a lawyer, or they trust, I don't know. Is it an ego thing? I know that's even like just veering off. Like what exactly is it at that point? If you know you can't read, you can't understand these documents, why wouldn't you get help?
It's the them putting the most money that you ever seen in front of you at one time and
That
saying,
pressure.
here, you know, this is yours. Congratulations. Here's a bottle of Ace of Spades, a $300 Ace of Spades is
Spill
yours.
it on you straight.
Yeah, let's celebrate. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that, you get caught in that moment, and it's just like,
Mm. They make you feel like the man. They make you feel like you're all they care about because you have something that they want.
yeah. And it's not all the time, you know. Like labels are, I according to Joel, you know,
Mm,
there's good and there's bad out there. Uh,
mm,
you know, labels are getting better, and in that department, you know, they're not always trying to get you to sign your life away. You know, they're really
mm,
some labels they'll work with you. You know, but you got to come with that leverage. That doesn't substitute the fact that you still need to do your part and come with that education piece. So yeah, that's really my number one, like my biggest piece of advice to artists. Like educate yourself,
educate yourself.
read books, listen to podcasts, attend workshops,
Mm,
follow the right people on Instagram, network with the right people. Like just do those things and you'll be okay.
yeah. Now even talking about like networking, the easiest way to network right now is on social media. Undeniably, it's like you can't avoid it if you're in the music industry right now. So with all these social media platforms that are going around, where would you advise artists to put their main focus when it comes to social media?
Honestly, every social media platform has a different demographic.
Mm,
Uh, you know, the way that content is served on Instagram is different from the way that content is served on Twitter versus how content is served on Pinterest versus how content is served on LinkedIn. Like every single one of these platforms has a different way that people like to digest the stuff that's floating around on those platforms. So
mm,
first things first, it's important to understand. It's important to understand who you really want to target. Um,
mm,
you know, and who you really want to reach. If you have an understanding of that, then that'll help you narrow what platforms you really need to be investing your time. Because every platform has a different age range. You know, Snapchat is like the younger group. You know, TikTok is the younger group. Instagram, you know, we're getting a little bit older.
mm,
Uh, Facebook, we're getting older than that. And then like LinkedIn, you know, we're getting like we're out. There's no teens. You know what I
yeah.
mean? On LinkedIn, like
Mostly
everybody
corporate guys
business,
type of.
corporate. You know what I'm saying? So like first things first is understanding who it is that you even want to address or appeal to. And
Mm,
then take into consideration the forms of content that are allowed on the platform. You know, video, most are allowing video, most are allowing, you know, like photos, like that's standard. But
mm,
then each of them have like their own little extra quirks, you know, like obviously Snapchat there are no pictures, there's pictures, but and there are videos, but the videos are short form content.
mm,
There's no
mm,
long form content. There's no like IGTV type style content or YouTube type style content on Snapchat. If that is how you plan on reaching your audience, if you feel like vlogging is going to get you faster to your audience than creating short 10-second 15-second videos, then
mm,
okay, well then maybe YouTube is somewhere that you need to be, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Maybe IGTV is something that's going to be appealing to you. Something like TikTok is not going to be your thing, or Snapchat's not going to be your thing, or
Or,
you might not use Reels. You might know that you need to be on Instagram, but maybe Reels is not your thing, you know what I mean?
mm,
So it's just all about knowing what these platforms offer, and
mm,
then once you know what they offer, then you can call one your home, and then that's
mm,
when you can start to try pumping out content on those platforms to see how people actually receive them.
mm.
So, that's really the thought process. I know, and a lot of us really don't even think about it that way. A lot of us we're just on a platform and we just want to make that specific platform work for us. Well, I mean, you still need to take into consideration, the demographic on the platform, because you could totally be in the wrong place thinking you're in the right place.
Yeah.
Uh, and
That's where that education comes in that you spoke of again.
right. And it's hard to feel like you're in the wrong place when you're on a platform where there's 500 million active users like Instagram. So like you might very well think that you're in the right place because there's so many different people and everybody's there, and everybody who does music they're doing Instagram. Like, you might feel like that's where you need to be because that's just what the general consensus is doing. But in all actuality, your calling might be somewhere else. You have no idea. But you don't know until you like really research the platforms and how you can actually utilize them.
Yeah, I feel like that would make a good segue to even the next question about content and the importance of it, because I usually have a conversation with my producer. Shout out Major Static, by the way. I'll put his hand or somewhere on the screen. But basically, we keep talking about the avenues through which artists today can make so much money in comparison to back then. He felt like we've had a conversation whereby we feel like an artist should have a cameraman if they can afford it, a friend of theirs just following them around, mostly when they're doing artistic shit, like maybe going to the studio, maybe going to an event. They should have a friend, whether they're hiring him or it's just a favor. Come take a few photos of them interacting. Maybe if they have a performance, recording them because of the whole social media thing. So just let us know how important is content, and don't downplay it. Give it to them straight. No.
That's funny because I do have my own podcast episode from a while back, and the name of the episode was like something like why you need a cameraman, or take a cameraman everywhere you go, or something along those
That's
lines.
crazy.
And it's because, like you said, like it's important to have it's important to have somebody there to always capture those moments, because how are we supposed to know what's going on if we can't see it? You know what I mean? Like it's one thing to just see, you posting a cover art of a new project, um or like maybe you're on somebody's podcast or doing an interview somewhere and they gave you a flyer and you're posting that. It's one thing to see that, but it's also a whole nother thing to take it a step further. And if you shoot a music video, right, which I commonly see people shoot a music video that put a trailer up to the music video. But one thing I never see people put up is behind the scenes.
Yeah.
There's never behind the scenes clips.
Usually see it with like big artists usually, and there's a reason why the big artists do that as well, but I don't know why we don't think like that. Go ahead, sorry to cut you.
No, you're fine. It is very interesting, and I like I was saying before, in people's emulation process, this is how you know they're not doing the reverse engineer part, because they're just trying to emulate that end goal. If you reverse engineer, you repeat that when these people put out music videos, they may not necessarily be posting it on their Instagram, but I bet you if you go on their YouTube, you might see some behind the scenes
Up there.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of that stuff is up there. You could probably Google any of your favorite artists, their name, and then put like BTS or behind the scenes in YouTube. Guarantee you, for at least one of their productions, you're going to find behind the scenes content. Period. And because it's very important. Like we want to see more. I think a lot of artists feel like they need to be, or nobody's gonna care about them until they're at that point, like that point of I finally made it, right? False. We really, as human beings, storytelling is like ancient for us. Like storytelling goes as far back as, I don't know, however long mankind has existed. Like storytelling is massive. It's such a big deal. And I really urge all artists to embrace that, and embrace that through your content. Tell your story through your content. One artist that I really, really enjoy listening to, she's a female singer. Her name is Dom, and she makes very phenomenal music. And she recently released a new project. And one of my favorite songs on there is called Dark and Stormy. She put a video out on Instagram where she broke down what that even meant. You know, like I didn't know that Dark and Stormy was a drink that you can buy at a bar. Like I didn't
What?
know that. Yeah, that's the name of a drink.
I didn't
And
even think of that.
yeah, but
What?
it was her favorite drink, and she broke this down. It's her favorite drink, but the song itself starts. There's a feature on the song. I forget his name. He's amazing too,
Mm,
but she breaks down in a video. My point is, she took the time to break all this down, like the lyrics, what she meant when she said a certain thing, the vibe that she was setting, and how
mm,
it just matched up with the name of the song. Like she's buying a drink, she runs into an ex, the ex is trying to like convince her that they still need to have something together, and she's like, no, you're crazy, you're foolish if you think I believe that. Like she breaks this whole thing down in the video, and like it all starts from the name of the song, which happens to be her favorite drink, which is like crazy.
that's
So like
crazy.
when you hear this broken down, it's like, holy shit. Like, why are people, not that many people taking the time to do this? Why are they not taking the time to like break down, like, one
Like
of the
their
music videos,
craft.
yeah, one of the music videos that she shot, like she shot the video, put it out. It was massive. It was great song, great production, everything. There was a lot of acting involved in the music video, which I personally love.
Mm,
And like you got to see the behind the scenes, you got to see them acting like real time, like you got to see this stuff. And like we
yeah.
want to see that. Artists listening to this, we want to see that. We want to see you come up. We want to see you develop yourself. We want to see what you go through. Listen, we want to see you cry on camera. We want to see you be
No
passionate.
cap. No
Yeah, we
cap.
want to see you be passionate. You know what I'm saying? We want to see you have those epic moments. Like we want to see those. We want to be a part of all your micro blessings. You know what I mean? As long as you're doing your part as the artist and you're feeding me as
Mm,
a consumer, you know what I'm saying? Like you're nurturing me as a consumer too, to even feel like I want to care that much.
mm,
But if you're doing your part there, know that I want to see these things. So
yeah. Like building that connection and sharing the journey.
exactly, and that's why content is important. You need that. That is your literally your conduit for building the connection and sharing our journey.
Y'all are gonna make me start crying in all my videos now. I start crying for no reason. Okay, so I took the time to scroll on your page and I found a post that a couple of posts that we're going to talk about, but the first one is what I want to talk about. I found 3 myths about succeeding in the indie music scene, and I thought it would be interesting to talk about that. Now, these 3 myths are: music is the only thing that matters. The second one is I don't need to understand the business side of music, which we've talked about. And then the third, getting a record deal equals financial success. Now, I want you to just break down each of these three in the best way you can, and just help us understand why people think the way they do, or why you feel people think the way they do when it comes to these 3 myths, and how best they should maneuver that space.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to help me remember the 3 myths.
Definitely, definitely.
As soon as I post something, I post it and I'm moving
On
on
to
to
the next one.
yeah. What was the first one? I'll break it down.
Music is the only thing that matters.
Okay, that's fine. Music is not the only thing that matters, but that's just what we were just talking about.
Exactly.
It's deeper than the music. Sometimes it's really about the journey. It's sometimes people want to support that small town hometown hero. They want that hometown hero or that person to get their big break. How many
Mm,
artists have you like really been paying attention to before they got their big break, and when they did, you literally felt like you grew up with this person? You know what I mean? That's how I
yeah.
felt about Jack Harlow. That's how I felt about Key Glock. You
Hey.
know what I mean? Like before he even signed to Paper Route. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's how I felt like about a lot. There's a lot of artists that like I'm like, damn, I'm so glad that like I got to witness you go from,
Their
you know
process.
what I mean? Yeah, you went from just trying to make it to
Mm,
actually making it. You know what I'm saying? So it's deeper than the music. We want to take that ride with you. We want to take that experience. We want to be on that with you. We want to experience those feelings that you went through to get to where you're at now. Like we want to go through that. So there's that myth. It's not just about music. It can't just be about it. It wouldn't even, things
It'd be
wouldn't
a business.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Then yeah, that part too. You know, there's still a whole nother business aspect to this too. So it just can't just be about the music. If you wanted to reach the masses, that doesn't happen by chance. That happens through strategy and planning. So it can't just be
exactly.
about the music. But
Yeah.
what's the second one?
The second one is I don't need to understand the business side of music.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You absolutely do.
That's
If
we've been just
unless
been
you
talking
want to
about
be
that right now.
unless you want to be an artist that has songs playing on the radio, right? Right? You're not
Mm,
getting a cent for it. You know what I mean? You're still working at wherever you're working at right now, you know, getting paid your minimum wage or whatever it is you're getting paid. You know what I mean?
mm,
Unless you want to be one of those artists, like literally getting plaques, but none of those plaques are coming to you. And none of those accolades are coming to you. They're going straight to the record label. You know what
mm,
I mean? Like, unless you want to be one of those people, you know, I highly suggest learning about the business, investing in taking time to learn as much as you can about the business.
mm.
Because, you know, if you don't, then the business is going to have its way with you, period.
Yeah, exactly. That one is getting a record deal equals financial success. And I
Okay.
feel, yeah, that one, I feel like we've broken it down like all the way through this entire podcast. We've touched on these 3 myths almost like I don't forget I added that to the to our
Yeah.
agenda.
Yeah, getting a record deal doesn't equal success. I mean, success in this business is a very relative term. Everybody, even outside of music, like what success might mean to me may not necessarily be what success means to you. You know, everyone has their own definition of success. But I can tell you, getting a record deal is it's definitely a milestone if that's what you really wanted and everything is, you know, worked out properly. It's definitely a milestone. It's something worth celebrating. It's a big move. It's a great step in the right direction. But
Mm,
is that the end all be all? Should that be the end all be all? In my opinion, no, not at all.
yeah,
You know, once you get that deal, um, deals expire.
yeah,
So like you have to continue to do more to make a label feel like they want to re-sign or renegotiate. You know what I mean? There's
yeah,
still work that you have to do. So it doesn't end at getting a record deal. I mean, like again, it's a great step in the right direction, but
mm,
even after that, there's still, once that money gets handed over to you, the work doesn't complete itself.
yeah.
You know,
And
you still
even like what you just said about the fact that you're either going to keep trying to impress the label, you're going to have to keep trying to impress the label. I've had a conversation with a friend of mine who's mentioned to me that, yo, if I get a record deal, I'm building myself first. Like you must focus on like you know how maybe when you get into a workout program, you want to stay fit. If you can afford it, one of the best things to do is just have a home gym. Like have something that you don't have to go a distance whereby you can easily make a split decision and just hit the gym. It's the same thing with the studio, right?
right.
If you get your check, one of the first things you should invest in is, have the gym at home, build a studio at home. So it kind of brings us back just that conversation of what are you going to do when you get that deal? What's the next step forward, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. The second post that intrigued me was, how to network in the DMs. Now, this particular part, I have personally felt it as an artist because, like you said, you mentioned there's people come into your DMs and are like, "Yo, I can help you get onto playlists. I can help you do this," and it's
Yeah.
like, I get the hustle, but approach me in a different like. There are ways you can approach an artist to work with them. If you're legit and genuine, there are different ways you can approach someone, and I feel like it goes for artists as well as you approach different people you want to work with. For example, let's say someone wants to work with you in particular, or a certain producer somewhere. There are things you shouldn't say today. For example, you say this in the post, right? There are four of them. There's let's work, bro. There's can you check out my music? Like I don't even know you like that. You know what I mean? Then
Right.
please sign or manage me. Can I ask you a question? What?
Yeah.
so
It's
mhm.
networking in a business is like, I'm starting to realize how important it is. Well, not I've always known how important it is, but like the actual art of it is something that a lot of people don't understand.
Mm,
Sometimes when you network in this business, it's not always about what a person can do for you. It's about what you can do for them. And then when you can do something for them and offer them something or give them some kind of support, then it's okay. Now this connection is now officially in the nurturing phase. So as long as you continue to nurture that connection and support a person, whenever you do need to connect with them on something, or you might need a favor or something like that, your chances of being able to get that are significantly higher than coming to somebody with the mentality of knowing, what type of accolades they have, or what they may be capable of, or something like that. And then just asking them for their help. Like, I think naturally it seems like that's the right thing to do. If you need help, find the person who can help you, ask for it. But you got to understand, like, people, it's a people thing, really. It's really a people thing. Like, say for example, if some random artist knew that I was going to have an interview with the president of CD Baby, and he was like, oh, like, I know you're having an interview, like, is there any way that I can get an opportunity to ask him a question directly? I'd be like, no. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I don't even know you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, no way am I about to potentially allow, because, well, I don't know what you want to ask.
You might jeopardize my relationship.
I don't know your temperament. I don't know. And the last thing I want to do is sit here and ask this, I consider him to be a very prestigious man. You know what I'm saying?
He is.
How am I gonna? How could I allow you to ask? How could I ask him? Is it okay if somebody that I don't even know ask him a question, and I don't know what you're about to ask him, and it might have me looking foolish? You know what I'm saying? So now versus if I knew you, right? You really supported me. You showed up to everything that I did. Anything that I put my name on, you were there, or you purchased it, bought it, or whatever the case may be, right? And then you purchase your way to this event, and then you message me and say, hey, like, is there going to be any opportunity for me to be able to ask him a question? Because you support me so much, and if the opportunity actually presents itself and I can do it for you, there's a chance that I might actually do it for you. Actually, I really did it the other day. There's one gentleman, shout out to Loretta's Only. He's been supporting me for mad long, and he showed up there, and he was there, right? Towards the end of the interview, I see he asked the question in the chat. And I was like, yo, I could totally just not even acknowledge this question. But like, this guy right here, like, he really supports me. He really helps me out. He comes with me everywhere I go. You know what I'm saying? So like, I asked Joel, I said, hey, Joel, like, I have a gentleman in here. I didn't, like, say like he was a huge supporter or anything, and I'm sure it wouldn't have mattered. But I was like, hey, like, I have this gentleman here, and he has a question. Is it all right if we take a look at what he asked? And he was like, yeah, sure. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I tossed him the alley-oop, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gave him the alley-oop. So it was like, like, I'm more inclined to do that with artists who really take the time to get to know me and
nurture that relationship with you as well.
Build that relationship. And that's the thing about networking that a lot of people fail to realize. And a quick tool is if there's somebody that you really, really want to network with, or a hack rather, or a tip is, and this is something that I do, I put certain people in my close friends on Instagram, and I make sure that I go through that close friends list every single day, and I engage with those people on Instagram. Like, I like their post, or like I'll comment on something that they just recently put out, or like I'll look at their story, and depending on what they have in their story, I'll reply to the story. You know what I mean? Like, just let them know, like, I'm still here, like, I'm watching you, I see what you're doing, like, I like what you're doing. You know what I mean? Or if they have an event, just show up, just
to support, just to show that you're watching them.
I sat in on a live yesterday for a whole 15-20 minutes between two other coaches on Instagram. They were having a discussion on Instagram, and I sat in with them, and like, I jumped in the comments like, yo, these people really know what they're talking about. All the artists in here really need to pay attention. Like not even like I could if I wanted to be the person to be in there and say, hey, they got great tips, I have something on my Instagram about the same thing. Like, no, I would never. I would never come in your space like that. You know what I mean? Like, no,
because it's genuine.
Yeah, this is your space. You're doing your thing right now. Like, never mind what I got going on. If you want to call me out on it and say like, hey, that guy, he's got great tips and da. All right, cool. Like, that's
I
fine
appreciate it, but
yeah, I appreciate it, but that's not what I'm at. That's not what I'm here for. You know what I'm saying? I'm genuinely here for you. And that's the thing that a lot of artists need to understand, even just in terms of just networking with other artists too. You know what I mean? Like, if you really want to have like a really solid fan base of artists that are also, or base of artists that are going to support you, as well as, you know, people who are just consumers, you know, it's just the easiest way to do it. It's just to just show support.
Like genuinely care about someone, basically. It's like genuinely care.
Yeah.
Oh, that's powerful, man. Like, I like what you said about even showing up on the lives, because I don't feel like we do enough of that. It's like I'll just take it back to the whole ego thing. It's like when you see someone else doing what you do, I don't know. A lot of rappers talk about it, a lot of artists talk about it. When people like to see you on the come up, or when you get up, they're not really for it, right? I've had it multiple times. So when I see someone else, you know, push for others to make it in, and in a field that you are particularly also, you know, potent in, it's something that you take serious. I feel that's the kind of support that we all need to give each other, because it's not like, it's kind of like an abundance mindset, if I might say, even, right? You don't see them taking away from your audience just by their success, right?
Right.
Yeah. So in the next thing I would like us to talk about is monetizing your craft. I'm sure people who are listening, this is something that you've been thinking about. Personally, I think about it almost every day because I'm in the game as well. Let's talk about monetizing your craft. Let's talk about royalties. Let us in on that. If you can, even like break it down for us.
Honestly, like, I know a lot of people, and it's funny because this hot topic also came up. I got to interview Luke Mendoza a while back. Luke Mendoza is he runs a platform called BeatChain.
You're gonna need to send me all these tags, bro. You're gonna send me all these tags.
Yeah, Luke Mendoza. He runs BeatChain. BeatChain is like a one-stop shop service for artists that has just like a bunch of different really cool tools that they can use. He also runs the artist growth tips page too. That page is like over 20,000 followers, probably like close to 30,000 by now, if not more than that. And in that same interview, he and I talked about how a lot of artists are saying, you know, like they're not really trying to do this for money, and you know, they're just passionate about it, and it's just something that they want to pursue. But you know, that sounds great and all, but the fact of the matter is you definitely are looking for some type of return here. Otherwise, like, why go through all of this? You know what I mean? Like, if you're not expecting some kind of return on it, why really go through the fire and flames that is like really treacherous business if there's not going to be some gain at the end of it? So it's important to learn how to monetize your fan base, because you got to keep going. You got to scale your operation. You got to be able to level up in this business. And sometimes if you want better things, then that means that that's going to come at a cost of something that has a higher price tag to it. You know, like you can start off in the business getting away with paying $200-$300 for a music video, but then at some point you're gonna have to up it. You know, you're gonna have
put
to
a couple of bands down.
Anywhere from 500 to a couple $1,000. Like, you're gonna have to scale up if you really want to be taken as a professional. You know, you're gonna have to level up in numerous areas. It's gonna take money. So learning how to monetize your fan base is gonna be a very important skill. And you know, when it comes to monetizing, there's no talking about monetizing, but also not talking about publishing. You know, you want to make sure that you're completely registered. You know, depending on what country you live in, you want to make sure that you register with the performance rights organization that's in that country. You know, over here in the States, it's BMI, ASCAP, CSAC. I know over there in Canada, it's SOCAN. You know, you just want to make sure that you register there. There's a few other avenues that you need to register yourself to, because just registering yourself with the PRO and having a digital distributor, because digital distributors also do produce a payout for artists, I think quarterly or however often it is. But that's still not enough to make sure that you're fully monetizing off your fan base, and or at least you're prepared to monetize. But then there's that preparation phase, and then there's the actual, like, I'm actually doing it, I'm monetizing thing. And that comes from understanding the 1,000 true fans method, if you ask me. Just not feeling like you need to have a massive fan base of like over 1 million people to be successful. You don't really need that. You just need like 1,000 people to really support you and be very, very strong supporters, uh, to help you get money that you need to scale yourself. So like once you can really start to acquire diehard fans through, engaging with people, doing the networking the proper way, like we just described, sharing your producing a lot of content, and having that content that's sharing your story and really captivating people who, not just getting them up here, but getting them in here too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, once you do enough of that, then that's when you'll start to get the 1,000 true fans, or work your way to your 1,000 true fans. And then, you can't be scared to go for the ask from your fans sometimes too. Sometimes it's tough, when, you need support, and that support might need to come in the form of money, and you have to ask people for it. Or like, putting yourself out there trying to sell your merch and stuff like that. Like, but you have to do those things. But it'll be far more easier doing those things if you have a solid fan base. And so, yeah, there's that preparation phase so that you are actually ready to monetize, to its fullest extent. And then there's the actual doing it and getting out there and building those fans so that you do have people that are willing to spend their money on you.
Okay. It's actually interesting how you've said what you've said, because yesterday I was listening to one of the artists from, I came to Canada about 8 months ago to do school, but then I came from Kenya. I'm natively from Uganda. I studied in Kenya. Now I'm studying in Canada. But basically in Kenya, there's this artist called Octopizzo. Shout out if you ever see this. He's a big deal back in Kenya, right? And he was having this interview. He's a very savvy businessman. Hoping to have him on the podcast at some point. He was saying, he was talking about one of the companies there that helps artists collect royalties and all that. It's called MCSK. And he was like, many artists do not understand the power that they hold when they come to these companies. There's some feedback. Okay, yeah. When they come to these companies, because he mentioned one of the perks that, let's say a movie, maybe a producer, people are producing a movie in like the US are probably use your song in their video, right? These companies, you don't need to go and pursue this particular producer by yourself. You just talk to the company, say MCSK, and that is their job. They go all the way to the US or wherever it is that these people are shot from and use your song in their video, and they ask for royalties, they collect royalties, and they pay you, And these people always have meetings, they always do a lot. But what he was like, what artists do is like, they sign up for these services, and it's a one-time thing. They don't go for meetings, they don't do that stuff. And people inside are kind of corrupt, we must say, but then let's say they're smart, because they know artists won't come back. So they'll set a meeting knowing artists won't arrive, and artists are paying a monthly fee or a yearly fee, and they're just taking the money because artists do not want to come and utilize them as services. So I really connect with what you just said, because I gained more insight upon hearing that conversation by Octopizzo from yesterday, right? Another thing that I wanted us to talk about, I know probably, I don't know if you're aware of how to break them down, but if we could talk about royalties, it would be interesting as well. I don't know if you're aware of the different royalties, or you could just let us in on what you know, and probably people can just go and research on their own as well.
Yeah, so by no means am I a freaking publishing guru. Listen, I got friends that are absolutely amazing at it, and I don't even understand how they got so good at it. But it's like wizardry. Publishing is one of the most confusing things that you're going to learn about in this business, but it's also the most important thing, because understanding your publishing you want to understand your publishing more than anybody else, because if somebody else understands it more than you, then that puts them in a position to kind of get one over on you, and you don't want that. So when it comes to there's numerous different types of royalties. There's sync royalties, there's the mechanical royalties, there's a few more too. I think there's a heck of a whole lot more, but don't get me to lying about what they're called. But in the grand scheme of how it works is you have your song, right?
Mm,
You have your master recording. That master recording is split into two ways. So the profit gets split 50-50 down two different avenues. There's
mm,
the master side, I think, and then there's like I think publishing, there's a publisher share and there's a writer share. There we go. There's a publisher share and there's a writer share. And then even in those two fields, those two get split into different types of royalties. Now, what those royalties are, I don't know the names of those specifically, but
mm.
my point is it gets broken down. So it starts with the original song and then it gets broken down and then it gets broken down
Broken
even
down
further.
again. Yeah.
Now, every time that it gets broken down further, there's a certain type of way that you have to go about claiming the royalty in that in that particular path or in that avenue, right?
Mm,
So if you're just signed up with the distributor, like CD Baby, TuneCore, whatever, DistroKid, well, in one of those paths is CD Baby, TuneCore, DistroKid, and what they do for you as far as giving you money for your songs, right? But there's
yeah.
still all those other avenues that are not touched. The royalties are still, they're yours. They're for you to claim.
Mm,
But from an administrative standpoint, there's no way for the entities responsible for getting that money back to you. They don't know how to get it back to you
mm.
because you have not signed up with the right organization or you have not signed up with the proper entity. You know what I
Mm.
mean? You
You haven't
have
set
not
up the right system.
Yeah, you have not aligned yourself correctly on the administrative end to make sure that that well that you can tap is tappable. You see what
Mm,
I'm saying? So there's all different types of services out there that'll help you make sure that you can really tap into all of these wells to make sure that when you release music, you're getting all of your funds. I mean, you're recouping all your funds the right way, safe and sound, knowing that every bit that you're getting is what you're entitled to. Right now, there's millions of artists out there that are putting
mm,
songs out there the complete incorrect way. They're still leaving money on the table. That ends up being what's called the black box royalty. Black
mm,
box royalties is when the grace period of about 2 to 3 years has expired for you to
mm,
basically get yourself together and align yourself properly so that you can collect all your money from
mm,
all the different revenue sources that are out there. Once that time period expires, you are no longer eligible to claim money that is entitled to you. And
black box royalties.
yeah, once that time period is over and you're now in the black box phase, you can't even claim that money anymore. And even worse, that money gets written off to artists that are well established and do have their paperwork correct
Mm,
so that they can collect money the way that they're supposed to from all those other different avenues that you failed to do so.
mm,
So you don't want to end up in that position. So yeah, there's I guess the main thing here is, without being too specific because I lack those details, but the main thing to understand here is there are numerous ways to collect money in this business. The
mm,
moment the moment that one of your songs hits the internet, it's subject to every single last one of these ways.
mm,
Every single last one of them. And there's going to collect money in every single last one of those avenues. But it's up to you to know what to what way to register yourself, or
mm.
who you need to connect with to make sure that all that money is not just sitting and coming back to you the right way.
Yeah. Finding its way back home.
Right, exactly.
Wow. That's the first time I've had that term, the black box royalties being used. For me, that's now
It's wild, man.
like I won't even say anything, but I'm just going to go on Google because Google has just come to save us. Because you just mentioning this, for me, it just planted a seed. And if you're listening, guys, please, I'm not asking you to take notes because this video is going to be up on YouTube. It's going to be available. But if you want to, if you don't need to go through, because this is now we're now over 40 minutes in. So if you don't want to come through again and just go through the whole 40 minutes to catch these gems, I hope you're taking some notes, because personally, I don't mind going through my own videos the whole day. I don't mind. So I'll go through this stuff again, and while I'm editing, I'm taking notes. I hope you're doing the same thing. Now, that what we've been talking about has been royalties or ways of earning that are digital. Thank God for that digital space. But now let's talk about merch. When is the right time for someone to invest in merch? And do you feel it's still an avenue that is, succulent enough? I don't know if I've used the right word, but succulent for artists.
I think that you shouldn't go and get merch like in the very beginning. I think that if you're still in the process of building a fan base, then there's no point in having merch just yet, because there aren't enough people that know much about you or your story, or they haven't received enough of your value to feel like they want to make that type of commitment to you. So in the beginning, I don't think that it's worth investing in merch. I think that there's better ways to spend your money. But then once you start to see that you actually have a following, and that people really give a crap about, when you release new music, or whenever you make some kind of special announcement, or just your overall, just your presence on social media in general, then, maybe then at that point, it'll be time to start considering some merch. And even the merch that you decide to purchase, or you decide to make available for people, don't just go and just buy any old thing. Like, don't just go and buy, like, I don't know,
Some poor quality shirts and just
yeah,
put some
or
print
like
on them.
pens or something like that with your name on it.
Mm.
Like, don't get me wrong, pens are actually really great for marketing. I learned from like someone who's like an expert marketer that pens actually touch, like, the lifespan of a pen has like anywhere from 7 to 21 hands it goes through, if you really think about it. So like,
That's so true.
it's actually a really great marketing tool. But I say for artists not to use it, because you really want to like give your fan base something that actually makes sense for them. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to give them something that it's pointless and doesn't even matter. No,
Yeah,
like,
to them.
give them something that matters, that they can utilize, that they may even feel compelled to tell other people about, because of how useful it was for them, or whatever it was. But I would say think along those lines when you actually do get to the point of where you're ready to create merch. But in the beginning, I wouldn't focus on merch. I would just focus on building that fan base and continuing to educate yourself until you get to that point.
You might picture an artist who's not interested in selling to his audience as yet, but is interested in branding themselves, right? How do you feel about the idea of getting merch just for you to rock? You design your own stuff just for you.
I see what you're saying. Actually, I know somebody who does that. He kind of just rocks his own stuff, and then after a while, like, maybe people will catch on to it. I think that's a good idea. I think I've honestly actually thought about doing that for myself. Like, maybe getting like my own like hoodie or logo on it, or like getting like t-shirts made that have like really really catchy slogans on it. Like, one of the slogans that I was thinking about was like, artists need lunch money too. You know what I'm saying? So like, and like
smart window.
throw my logo or something on there, like it, but so people will see stuff like that, and then after a while, like, after they see me enough, they'll see I always have on a t-shirt that has like something quirky, about,
written
like,
on it.
something about supporting, but always about supporting artists though.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
That's
And like,
staying on brand.
yeah, staying completely on brand. And like, I think if an artist could do something like that, I think that is very much worthwhile. I don't see anything wrong with that at all.
Yeah, mostly if later maybe you think of dipping your toes in that, like it's probably like a long-term plan, because like something that I feel like we've established on this podcast so far is that we are not in the short-term game. Like, creativity is not a short-term thing. So some people you blow up immediately. I mean, people are blessed like that, but even them still, if they have the vision, it's still a long-term game if you want to last in the game. Because I had like I was saying, from one of our artists back in Kenya, Octopizo, he was like, the lifespan of an artist is about 3 years of the average artist. If he's putting in the work, if he's actually got kind of solid fan base, it's around 3 years, right? And after that, it's going to be a push. it's going to be a push. You must now it's about being innovative. It's about now that 1,000 true fans that you're talking about that's going to keep you in the game, because people are going to move on to new things. New artists are going to pop up. You're not going to be as fresh as you once were, because you're going to have some kids. People are going to look at you and be like, yo, I want to be like that. And kids are going to come up and reinvent your style.
Right.
Yeah, so that's powerful. Mostly when you're speaking about the whole branding thing.
Yeah.
Now, as we wind up, because I feel like we've had so much going on. I just feel blessed right now. There are two questions that I would like to drop on you. They're personal questions. One is, who's your favorite independent artist at the moment?
Who's my favorite indie artist at the moment? Hold on, I gotta look at my playlist right now.
No problem. Go ahead.
Go on Spotify. What's been going on? I do listen to a lot of indie artists. Favorite indie artist right now? Like, who just moves my soul?
Exactly. Like you listen down, you're like, bro.
Okay, I got one. There's a gentleman right now on Instagram, A1 Dawk, DAWK. Shout out to A1. He's actually one of my clients that I work with from time to time. But his music is really good. I like his brand. I think that's what I like his brand, and I like his style of rap too. His brand is very powerful. Basically, he wants everyone to know that it's okay to not be some lit super, I'm out here in these streets, drippy, look at all this cash, look at all these jewels, look at all, he makes it's okay to be normal. It's okay to be a family man. It's okay to have a wife and a kid and a family that you cherish, but also still want to make music that resonates with people, to let them know that, you don't need to have all of that fancy stuff to be solid in life. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to have a bunch of women around you, fancy cars. Like, you don't need all of that. Like, that's what
pass for an artist.
Yeah, if that's what you're into, then that's what you're into. Whatever makes you happy. But at the core of being a human being, you don't need any of those stuff. Just be you, be authentic, show up every time authentically as you, and worry about the people who will accept you for what you are, and those who don't, we don't care about them people. Just keep doing you. And so, I really love his brand, and he makes sure that he presents that message in every single last one of his songs, but he does it so melodically, if that's even a word. But he makes it very melodic, and his beats are always really, really good. He definitely has songs that feel like club bangers, but the club bangers are inspirational as hell. You know what I'm saying? They're moving and they're very touching. So he's definitely one of the hot ones on my radar right now, for sure.
Okay, A1. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to put his tag somewhere on the screen.
Yeah, he just dropped a video for a song called Blazing. It's fire.
Blazing. Okay.
Yeah, fire.
Yeah. Well, I think while I'm editing this, all these people are speaking of, I'll definitely just be going their page and be like, follow, just to see what's going on.
Check everybody out, man.
Yeah. Yeah. The second question is, what books, podcasts, channels, or creators would you recommend for an independent artist to go check out, for example, to learn, like you said, or to just be inspired?
One of the really big notorious books out there is I forget what it's called. It's called All About the Music Business, I think. And there's so many different editions and stuff like that, but the latest edition is something that you probably want to get your hands on. It has a lot of great information in it. Some of it's really good, some of it's really dry and really boring, like the publishing stuff, but it's well worth the read. The DIY Musician podcast by CD Baby is an excellent freaking resource. I highly recommend checking out their podcast. And I'm not the only coach that's out there. There's a lot of great coaches out there that are doing what they're doing to help support artists.
Hey, drop some names, bro. Drop a couple
Twisted,
of names.
Twisted Coaching. There's another Cherries on Top. That's one of my really good dear friends.
Okay.
Uh, Cherries on Top is another good one. Q Music Productions. Shout out to Q Music Productions. Seti P, Nick the manager. Shout out. That's my consultant squad. Shout out to the consultants.
Sir.
Like all of these people are out here really, really just trying to help out, and yeah, tap into them because they got gyms too.
Definitely. Hey, thanks for that. I'm definitely going to be putting those up on my Instagram as well. So guys, just be watching out. If this is too long, I'm just going to chop it up as well and have some clips up for you guys because we know our attention span. To be honest, today our attention span is bad. It's really bad. I don't see people reaching the end, but we'll try. We'll see what happens. So that has brought us to the end of the podcast. But one of the things before we go, I would like you to number one, talk about the quiz in your bio because we talked about it last weekend. I've been trying to find time to do it this week. I haven't done it, but then I know it's important. I want you to talk about your quiz
Yeah.
and your program as well. The
Okay.
program, yeah.
So I have a quiz. I call it the release readiness quiz. Only takes a couple minutes. The main objective of the quiz is to help artists understand where they stand as far as their next release. So, you might feel like you're ready, but there may be some things that you're missing that you haven't even thought of. So the whole purpose of the quiz is to help expose those things. Like I said, it only takes a couple of minutes, and it'll definitely shed a lot of light on areas you need to focus. And then I also have a coaching.
For people who are listening in, you might notice a change. Actually, you will notice a change in the background for keys as well. Yeah,
Switch up.
switch out. So this is the second part of the recording. The first one, we ran into some technical issues and we just decided, you know what, we shall record another time when we get the opportunity, and we finally got that opportunity. So we left off last time with a couple of questions to finish the podcast. I had asked first of all, to let us know about your quiz. Why should people be psyched about it? Why should an artist take it? And then also to tell the people about your course. Just give them the give them the
Oh, the
business.
course. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a course. The course is inspired. It's crafted and it's inspired by my one-to-one coaching program. The one-to-one coaching program is called the Musician Accelerator Program, aka the MAP program.
Mm,
And the whole point of the program was to work with artists one to one to just really help them understand stuff that wasn't talent related and more business related. So learning, publishing, learning how to release music properly, learning how to brand themselves accordingly, why they need a website, email marketing, how that's important, how to implement it, things like such. And so I thought, how cool would it be if I could take everything that I was teaching these people in this one-to-one program, right? And make something that would be far more accessible to a lot of people. Because when I do a one-to-one program, I have to dedicate my time. And when I was doing the program, I had it three variants of it, and the three variants range from meeting for an hour to at the most up to 2 hours. So some days I'd be sitting with an artist for 2 hours, and then right after, I have like an hour and a half session, and that's time out of my day, and I don't
yeah.
mind it. I don't mind it. However, I just felt like it was a poor way of using my time to
Mm,
help as many people as possible. So that's why I created the course. The course is, if I haven't said it already, it's called the Zero to Indiepreneur course. This is basically inspired by that exact program. I took the same exact curriculum, and all I did was record each module, which has a series of different topics in it, ranging from some of the things that the artist and I went over with, and I just packaged it into something that's easily digestible. There's quizzes. There's also some handouts, or like some there's handouts in there too, so that you can utilize to kind of help you really build on your knowledge of what I already discussed in the module. And then I also do homework too, because I believe in holding people accountable,
mm,
especially artists. They'll find every reason to be lazy. like I've never come across a lazier group of people. I thought that I did, but until I started doing this, lazy. Okay, there's a lot of
Like
lazy people out there, and that's probably why that failure rate is 99%. But
I'm laughing
the
because
whole point
I
of the
really
course,
relate with what you're saying. Like
yeah,
no cap.
the point of the course is to put you in that 1%. Basically,
Mm,
that was my whole reason for wanting to put that together. And like I said, make it accessible to a lot of people, because working one to one, I can only have maybe about eight people, 9 people. I think I actually had eight people on the program.
mm,
So yeah, like having 8 people that you have to you feel responsible for, and helping them get to the next level,
yeah,
that's time. And like that, what about everyone else?
yeah.
Like,
It's not
even though I'm working
scalable.
with
Yeah,
them, it's not scale right, it's not scalable. Even though I'm working with them, I'm still thinking about how I can help everyone else. So
yeah,
that's where I really slid the course in. So yeah, if anybody's interested in it, DM me. We can talk about it. I'll send you the link for it. But if you're not feeling course ready, then take advantage of all the other things that I do, like the quiz. Obviously, there's a workshop that you can attend.
mm,
um, you know, get familiar. If you're not
yeah,
familiar, get familiar is what I'll
yeah,
say about that. Get familiar and understand that you're in the right hands.
yeah. It's kind of that's building that trust, guys. Me, I
Yeah.
just implore you, like if you're having your doubts, just go to his page and check out his content. Like that's the first place I would actually advise. Like if you just see this off rip, you don't know who I am, you don't know who he is, just go type in at Keys to the Game, and once you just peruse through his page, yeah, you let me know. Hopefully you drop a comment somewhere. Oh, I found you at Mister's or something. I don't know. Yeah,
Merge.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
did you finish up with the quiz? Had you finished talking about the quiz the last
Oh
time?
yeah, yeah. No, the quiz point was great. It was just when I was trying to talk about the chorus where we ended not so gracefully.
Mm,
But
okay.
yes, yes, yes. But to recap though, the quiz is extremely helpful. It's designed to make you aware of things that you should be aware of when releasing new music. It's a great tool to use. It's not anything to shame you or make you feel less intelligent about what you're doing, or the choices that you're making. It's really just designed to make you aware. That's it. It's just designed to make you aware so that you understand that there's still more work that needs to be done. And
Mm,
I also consider it a great tool that weeds out the people who want it versus the people who don't really want it, because the people who want it are going to make those changes. The people who aren't are just going to remain stagnant and not really do anything. So, it help promotes a healthy environment in the business.
mm,
Because like we talked about before, sometimes the artists will say that they're serious and not really be serious, and they end up wasting a lot of people's time. That's something a lot of people don't talk about. There's a lot
mm,
of time wasting artists out there too. You have people who are on the serious spectrum, like you and I, and then you have people who aren't on the serious spectrum, and those people, they make it harder for us to satisfy our goals, objectives, and accomplish our missions. So it's a great tool. It works. It
yeah.
works. It works. It works culture for the culture,
Mm,
and then it works to support artists as a tool. So
yeah.
yeah, make sure you go take that quiz. It's the link in my bio. Don't
And
be scared.
yeah, and you should like even people usually have the argument of I don't have the time. Or guys,
Yeah,
let me tell you, that's a 2 minute quiz. Like literally,
it
I
takes.
feel it might
Yeah,
even
it
take
takes no
less than
time.
2 minutes if like if you read quick. Let me say, it's just
Yeah,
yeah. So I would implore you to go check out his quiz and yeah, that was basically the last two questions that we're talking about
yeah,
that
yeah.
that we had on our program. So that's the end of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to the next episode. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you bringing me on. It really means a lot to me, man. I always love telling my story. I love talking about this. Obviously, I could talk about it till I'm blue in the face. And
Yeah.
it's just always great to connect with people who are like-minded and see the vision. And we're missionaries out here.
Straight.
I got that term from Joel Andrew, who's the president of CD Baby. In our interview, that's what he called me. He was like, "You're like a missionary out here." I was like, "Damn, you're right." So yeah, like we're
You're bringing
missionaries
the
out
gospel
here.
to these people.
Facts, man. So
Yeah.
our job is important. So just as happy as you were to get my yes that I would be here, I was happy to get the invitation. So
100.
thanks,
Where,
man.
where where can people find you if they're
Oh
looking to
yeah,
find you?
that's important, right?
Yeah.
All right, for those who want to keep in contact with me and really see what's going on and get some awesome tips and see some awesome interviews and all types of other great awesomeness, you can find me on Instagram at Keys to the Game. That's Keys with a Z because the S was taken, unfortunately. You can also check me out on keystothegame.com, spelled the exact same way as it is on Instagram. If there's anything that you really, really, really want to work with me specially on, then that would be the place to check me out and see what I offer. But other than that, oh yeah, I don't know. I totally forgot about LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn too, but you find me on LinkedIn under my real name,
Yeah.
which is Kareem Guy, Gary Umbrella Yankee, like I'm a guy.
Okay.
And
I'll definitely put I'll put the text somewhere on the screen.
yeah, let them know because listen, man, I didn't have people want to spell it like GUI, and I'm just like, what?
What?
Right. So
Huh?
yeah,
That's shocking.
check me out on LinkedIn. I'm also on Twitter too, by the way. I forget that I'm on all these social media platforms because I mainly focus on Instagram. But if you send me a message on any of those platforms, you'll be able to reach me. I'll respond.
Hmm. You still function on all of them, yeah?
Yeah, man, you gotta be as many places as you can. Not all the places, but as many as you can that don't really turn you into a three-headed dragon on one body.
Straight.
Yeah.
Straight. All right, bro. This has been great conversation, and
Word.
we'll catch you guys later. Hey.